Hey guys, it's Dr. Matt here. What I wanted to do today is I wanted to give an update on my Coticule series of videos. It's been at least 3 months since I've done the videos, and I've had some great results from you guys. I appreciate you, the comments that you put in, the emails that I've got, the chance that I could have to help you. Hopefully it has helped you quite a bit. I know a lot of guys out there have been helped. There's been some things repeatedly, some questions that I get from people that have tried my technique from the videos and they're still having some issues. And really what it came down to is two main things. Number one, they would say, look, when I do your technique under running water and I go to finish up, I can't get the razor to stick. I don't get that sticking sensation. That's number one. Number two is that they say even, I still try and shave with it after that. I hone or I strop it and then I try and shave and it's still, I cannot get a good shave. So it doesn't stick and it still doesn't shave. So what I did in the other videos, if you've watched the series, is that people that were having issues with their stones and still couldn't get them to work, I asked them to send me the stone, send me a razor, their stone, and let me take a look at it. And several of you guys did, and I appreciate it. And I had a great time. I had a lot of fun doing it. But I also learned quite a few things, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. And that is the modified technique for those problematic stones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some microscope slide series. And I'm going to go over what it is that I saw, which was repeatedly I would see the same issue, and I figured out how to fix it. And I'm going to show you some slides before. I'll show you some slides after. But what I wanted to mention here real quick is the slides that I'm going to show you is that since my last video, right now it's October. I did that video in May. 3 or 4 months later, I have a new microscope. Okay, I have a microscope that is now a 900 power scope, so I can see things that I was never able to see before. The last 4 years, I haven't been able to see this stuff. In fact, I haven't seen too many microscope pics that have been able to see what I'm about to show you. So this stuff is really exciting about this microscope. I'm going to do a video on the microscope about it and where to get it and all that stuff. But just to say real briefly is that it is a Dynalite Scope. It's a 900 power scope. And the video I'm going to do, I'm going to get into a little more detail about it. But just suffice to say that I was able to get the company to offer they've never done before, a Dr. Matt discount code. So if you're interested in that and you don't feel like waiting for my other video to come out, you can just email me and I'll give the email at the end of the video. But what I'll do now, like I said, I will go into those slides and we'll discuss some of those things that I found and how to fix it. So here we are. What I want to do here is we're going to just go over some slides. Now, what I wanted to say here is that these slides I'm going to show you, I think that they're all from this one particular stone someone sent me. And, I got the stone and I started off. The person told me that can't get it to stick, can't get it to shave. So I took the stone and I did my technique that I described in the series, which is take it to a 5K, strop, take it to the coticule under running water, circles X's, circles X's, circles X's, circles X's, until it sticks, strop, and shave. Well, that's what he did. He couldn't get it to work, so I thought, well, maybe I would have some better look at it. And I tried it, and this is what I got. I'm looking at this. First off, look at how awesome that picture is. What I'm looking at here, you see the arrows. The main thing I noticed, not only is this edge look rough, but the main thing that I noticed, and I repeatedly saw this in these problematic stones, is that there's these transverse marks in here. The marks that are going sideways or parallel to the edge. I just couldn't figure out what that was. So I did it again. This is what I saw. Then I saw this, and I went, wow, what is this stuff? Where is this stuff coming from? And to be honest, this took me a long time to figure out. I couldn't I couldn't understand what this was. But finally it hit me. The technique that I had described before was under running water, circles, X's, circles, X's. These marks that you're seeing, these transverse marks, these are caused from the circles. They're caused from the circles because as you would do the circle, I would do more of an elliptical movement on the stone this way, and that's where those sideways marks were coming from. So I realized that, wow, I mean, I guess that if we were to look, I mean, these marks that you're looking at a little bit up higher on the bevel, they themselves are not much of a problem. But when you get to the edge, when it would hit this edge sideways is what would tear that edge up. So what I did is I decided that let me try and eliminate the circles. Pow! Look at that. Oh my. That's what we found when we eliminated the circles. But also I did some other things I'm going to describe to you in a second. But this, when you eliminate those circles, you eliminate those transverse marks. This is a stropped razor. So the other night, what I did is I tried to, recreate this problem and recreate and solve the problem. So I went back to the circles. This is the kind of stuff that I saw. Again, we'd start to see the transverse marks here. The edge, again, is real rough. Again, another picture. Wow, look at that. Now you have to these are also the same razors here. Deeper scratches, edges rough. Ooh, look at this one. So what I did at this point is I took the edge over here and I took it back to an 8K. I took it to 8K, I eliminated all of those scratches, did the joining maneuver, got it, stropped it. Then I took it back to the coticule, under running water, X's only, no circles. And what I found is that it was about 30 to 40 passes, 30 to 40 X's. And what I came up with was this. Now this is off of the same coticule. This is not stropped. Let me try and shrink this so we can see them side by side. Look at that. Okay, this picture right here is right off of the coticule. Now you can, if you look at this, you can still see some of these deep scratches. You still will have some of the deeper scratches in there, but at least they're perpendicular to the edge and they're not going to chew it up like it does over in this other picture. So then, this same one, stropped. All right, let's take and shrink that up so you can see it next to that. There, if you can tell, is the progression. Now that is awesome. That is really awesome. That is taking a stone that started here, whoo, and ended here. That is fantastic. What I wanted to do is explain to you why I think this happens. In the other video we talked about, or I talked about these garnets. The garnets are these things that I described as chunks of carbide. These are the cutting particles, the elements of the coticule. On these problematic stones, what I think is that not only are the garnets larger, able to make deeper gouges within the steel, but also I think that they stick up further out of the stone. If we were to look at a cross section of the stone, you'd see these garnets sticking up. When I say that they're further, your substrate they'd be sticking up further. On stones that don't have this problem, I think that the substrate is up here. You barely have the garnet sticking up, and it just makes for a real nice a smooth surface. But if your substrate is down here and you have larger garnets sticking up, and not to mention the garnets may even have different shapes or sharper or whatever, but this is the kind of thing you have. That's why some people that will say to put beeswax on a coticle if you're having a hard time. What it does is it just fills that space on the substrate and gives you a smoother edge that way. So what happens is, when you're down here, these things are scratching up and you don't want to do those sideways marks. I know that I talked about circles in the first video, but in this case, or these problematic stones, it actually can create a problem versus refining the edge, as I had originally mentioned. So straight X's, I said 30 to 40 passes. Now, when you have large garnets sticking up like this, I do believe that it's very possible to overhone the edge. If you start really bumping into these things for quite a while, you do 100, 200 passes or whatever, it's going to get the edge toothy. So 30 to 40 definitely will take care of that. So the modified technique is, instead of going to 5,000, you go to 8,000. All right, the 8K stone. After the 8K stone, you strop as before. Then you take the coticle under running water. Under running water, you do light passes. On the other video, I talked about almost like 2 stages of pressure, 6 to 8 ounces of pressure. You know, the 6 to 8 ounces is enough to dent your skin this way. And then then I suggested 1.5 to 2 ounces of pressure, which is no dent on your skin, just basically enough to keep that razor in contact with the stone. That's all you need to do on this modified technique. 30 to 40 X's back and forth. That's it. Take it to strop, the linen strop, the leather strop, and you should have a fantastic edge. All right, so that's it as far as the technique. A couple other things that I wanted to mention. These final things that I wanted to talk about. One of the things that I wanted to mention regarding this modified technique, going up to the 8K, I know some guys are going to go, look, you know, that's just really not traditional. You know, coticles, well, we start them from the beginning. You know, your first part of your series, you said 5, maybe I was okay with that. Now you're going to 8, you're going a little bit too far. It's kind of taking it out of the realm of the traditional coticle honing. From a traditional standpoint, I don't disagree with you. But, I mean, there's people out there that have these stones that they paid some good money for, and they can't get the stones to work. So I think that this is a valid technique. I think that the edge that you produce is 100% coticle. And let's face it, you have a stone and you can get some great edges. You can get some great comfortable coticle edges from using this technique. And, you know, instead of taking these stones and getting rid of them, you have something that you can definitely work with. By looking at these slides and really dissecting this down to the smallest level that, you know, I haven't seen anyone dissect this thing that far. I think it really helps some people that have been having issues with coticles. You know, the reason I really wanted to make this series was because I had mentioned before that I had such a hard time with the coticles, and I would try and go on the boards and I would try and, you know, find people that were really good at it and speak with them. And, you know, I got nothing but you know, this mystical stuff, you know, become one with the stone. And I was just, you know, let's get scientific here and let's figure this out. So I think that I've gotten pretty far on this. If you have any other issues with stones, let me know. Send me the stuff. Maybe I can even take this further. Another thing I wanted to mention, I talked about stropping. This is something that it really doesn't have to do with the coticles, but it is important as far as stropping, or the edge, and that is the linen. You know, linen is real important as far as getting a good edge, and I recently just realized that I never really had a real linen strop. The last month and a half, I came across this strop. This is what's called a vintage linen, and it comes from a 1950s fire hose. All right, these strops come from Keith at tomonagura.com, and I can tell you, these strops are a game changer. These things are incredible. It's like something I've never experienced before. If you've seen my video right before this on the Philly razor, and I talked about the razor that kept getting better as I would use it, well, I realized that when I got the razor, it was about the same time I got the Strop. So these Strops are phenomenal. I'll put Keith's info, tomondegura.com down below. You can contact him for these Strops. These things are just great. Another question people asked me a lot regarding the Coti videos is they wanted to know, where is it that I can get a coticle? Well, that can be a tricky question or a tricky thing to answer because, you know, I mean, you can go on eBay and find them, but what I found is people that sell coticles on eBay, they usually sell them because they can't get them to work. So what I feel very comfortable with is referring people to Jared at the Superior Shave. Jared sells bunches of coticles. He's been selling them for years. Jared is super knowledgeable about coticles. Jared sells razors. He sells thousands of razors a year, and every single razor he personally hones on a coticle. So he's doing thousands of these things a year. I don't know anybody else putting up numbers like that. So he has a great company. He stands behind the stones. If you have problems with them, you know, with the stones, you can speak to him. I understand they even have a lifetime warranty. So I would suggest those. Just my opinion regarding the stones, what I found is that the vintage coticles, I seem to have the best results with those. And I know Jared has those on his site, so you have to look for those. But the Superior Shave coticles. One last thing I wanted to say, I've mentioned some products not only in this video, but some of my other videos, and I just wanted to say is that these things that I mentioned, I talked about the scope, I talked about the Strop, even my Chef Knives to Go webpage, I get nothing for that stuff. I have no connection with these places that I recommend other than they give great service, they have great products, they have great prices, and so that's why I mention them. I mean, Jared at Superior Shave, I don't even think Jared likes me. So, but he has a great company, he has great products, and I highly recommend him. So, as always, if you have any questions, email me, drmatt357@hotmail.com. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, make some comments. Have a great day. Enjoy your shave.